Hello and welcome back to Immigration News and Views. My name is David Nachman and I'm one of the managing attorneys at the NPZ Nachman Fawani Zimochek Law Group. Our offices are located here in Ridgewood, New Jersey. We also have an office in Midtown Manhattan. We also have an affiliated office in Mumbai, India, and an affiliated office in Canada. So today I want to speak to you about something that came up this week, and something that's actually a very common sort of happening in our practice, and that is that I would get a call very early in the morning perhaps from an individual who is abroad, and what happens is that sometimes they lose their travel documents. So an individual will be traveling, they'll be with their, usually it's on holiday, and either their documents will be lost or stolen. So of course I'd like to preface this discussion by mentioning to you that if you're planning to travel, always make copies of your travel documents. It's very important that you keep a copy of your passport, a copy of your green card, a copy of your visa, and if you, of course, you have I-94, make a copy of it. Keep copies of these documents in your luggage, someplace separate. And the reason why, of course, is because if you have copies of these documents, it's always easier to replace them if you have copies. Now, obviously, your lawyer's office is supposed to have copies in their legal files, and that's oftentimes why the first call is made to the lawyer to say, hey, I lost my documents, what do I do? But the first thing that we seek to ascertain when a person calls our office and says, hey, I've lost my documents, or hey, my documents have been stolen, is which documents have been lost. So generally the first question is, did you lose your passport? If an individual has lost their passport and they're traveling abroad, the best thing to do is go to the consulate or embassy for the country for the passport. So if you're in a country where, for example, let's say in the case of the individual who called me this week, he happened to have been Norwegian and he was traveling in Spain and his documents were lost. So the first thing I recommended to him is go to the Norwegian embassy in Spain and seek a new passport. Get the passport replaced. Now the thing you have to know is that it's unlikely that the consulate's going to renew that passport unless you have a very important document, and that is a police report. So please be sure that if you lose any of your documents, make sure that you call the police and file a police report or an incident report. Have some type of a report or a document that indicates what documents were lost and how they were lost. That's going to be important to show to the embassy to replace some of your documents. So once you've reported it to the police, or once you have your incident report, then you can go to the embassy, you can get a replacement passport. Now, once the passport has been replaced, and let's take, for example, again, the individual who called me this week, who, again, was from Norway, and he had an L visa stamp in his passport. So he had a situation where he would get a new passport, of course, from the Norwegian embassy, but then the problem is, how does he get a new travel document, or how does he get a new visa? So, of course, again, this is the reason why it's always a good idea to have a full copy of your, of your travel document with you. And what he would do is he would then go make an appointment at the U.S. consulate and seek a new visa stamp in his passport. Now, in the event that he is unable to get that new passport, new stamp in his passport, what he can also do is he can go to the U.S. consulate and ask for what's called a transportation letter. If an individual is given a transportation letter, they can bring that to the port of entry upon entry to the United States, and the port of entry should be able to let the individual in. So for example, if an individual has lost their green card and their passport abroad, if they replace their passport, and again, having the police report or incident report explaining the circumstances of the loss, then what they can do to replace their green card is go to the U.S. consulate, make an appointment, and get a transportation letter or a travel letter, and that will allow them to re-enter the United States. So these are the types of things that can be done in order to ensure that your documents can be replaced if you're traveling and you happen to lose them. So With that, I'd like to thank you very much for tuning in. I hope that this is an incredibly practical point for you. So if any of you are planning to travel, be on holiday, please be sure to make copies of all your documents, travel with them, travel safe, and of course, if you have any questions at all that we can help you with, please feel free to reach out for us here at NPZ. Thanks very much. Bye now.